Hi, I'm Vicky. Some of you will know me as the Free From Fairy, but for those who don't, today I'd like to tell you the story about how my daughter was diagnosed with celiac disease at the age of 2, almost 7 years ago.
It all began when Rue, not her real name you'll understand, but her internet name, was born. She came into the world screaming and didn't really stop much for 9 months. She suffered with severe colic and nobody really knew what was wrong with her. She was gaining weight, and the time between the screaming and the obvious pain, she was happy and chatty despite having almost constant diarrhoea. I cut out milk from my diet to see if that would help, but nothing seemed to make her better. When she was 6 months old, we started to wean her, and rather than express milk to mix into baby rice, I did what most mums do and bought a tin of baby formula. As soon as I fed it to her, she reacted with violent hives at any point the milk made contact with her skin, generally all around her mouth. We took her to the GP, where we finally had allergy testing carried out when Rue was 9 months old. They discovered that she had a cow's milk protein allergy, along with an allergy to eggs, and we were sent home with a dairy-free milk formula and pretty much left to it. Her first birthday cake was made egg and dairy-free, and although constantly ill with coughs and colds, she seemed to be much more settled and happy, despite being continually bloated and suffering with diarrhoea. Then a parent's biggest fear landed with us. After a fabulous week in Mallorca, Rue became seriously ill. Eventually, she was diagnosed with meningococcal meningitis. Thankfully, our incredibly strong little girl recovered from that infection, but the doctors kept a close eye on her over the preceding 6 months or so, testing her for a potential problem with her immune system, given how she was constantly ill. At that point, they found nothing. It wasn't until her brother came into the world, some 8 months later, that her health deteriorated again. She continued to have a very bloated tummy and diarrhoea, and was incredibly lethargic, to the point where she didn't really want to play with her friends or even climb the stairs. After many trips to the GP and consultant, they finally agreed to test her for celiac disease, something that, because she had been tested for at 9 months, they had dismissed as a possibility. It was only because I insisted on them carrying out that test that it was done. The blood test came back positive, but to get a firm diagnosis of celiac disease, we had the agonising decision of whether we should put her through a general anaesthetic to have the biopsy carried out. It was a tough decision. She was only 2, and we knew that it was gluten that was causing her issues. However, we also wanted to get the diagnosis for her to ensure she had the correct support throughout her life. Between the positive blood test and the biopsy, we had to continue to feed her gluten. It was agonising knowing that it was more than likely the cause of her pain and discomfort, but we knew it was a necessary evil. Finally, on the 25th of June 2010, we received the call we had been waiting for. The results of the biopsy showed that Rue had celiac disease, and we should immediately put her on a strict gluten-free diet. It was a sad and happy day. Sad because we sat and thought about all the things that she wouldn't be able to have, and the times in her life when it would be difficult. But also happy because within days of removing gluten from her diet, we had a different child on our hands. A child who was full of life, who slowly regained her colour and ate with a ferocity never seen before. One thing remained the same, her constant diarrhoea and bloating. Before her diagnosis of celiac disease, we had been told that she had grown out of her other food allergies. With the diagnosis of celiac disease, we were advised to feed her lots of dairy products to give her the additional calcium that she would need as a celiac. I followed that advice for a number of years, and then, against the advice of the consultant and dietitian, I removed dairy from her diet. Although I wouldn't recommend going against the advice of the experts, in this instance I was right. Within a week of removing dairy from her diet, her diarrhoea had gone for the first time in her life. My message to you this Celiac Awareness Week is to follow your gut, quite literally. I knew that my little girl was not right, and it turns out that she did have a problem with her immune system after all, albeit an autoimmune condition where the inclusion of gluten in her diet was causing her immune system to attack her gut. If you or your child have any of these symptoms, please visit your doctor and ask for a test. It's a simple blood test in the first instance. You or your child could be one of the 500,000 undiagnosed celiacs in the UK who is putting their future health at risk by eating gluten. To find out whether you might have celiac disease, complete the quick assessment online at the address showing on the screen now. You can also follow our Free From adventures at www.freefromfairy.com.